Hello, Uncle. Come on in, you guys. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. I have something important that I want to speak on today. Thank you so much for watching. I want to just speak a quick word. I promise I don't plan to be long. It's your girl, Dr. Deshauna here. And yes, it's self-proclaimed. We're going to say I got my master's degree from the University of Hard Knock Life. Okay? Certificates in adversity. And whatever else you could think of. Okay? That certified me. But bringing this talk to you, it's kind of like based on a couple of different conversations that I've had over the last couple of days. So, first of all, let's go ahead and say that in the Black community, there's an issue that a lot of us don't speak on a lot, but it's very prevalent. While we sitting up here battling, and it's Black History Month, you know, I'm glad that I'm bringing this message during Black History Month, because some of us are unified. Lots of us are waking up and getting better at being unified, but not everybody is unified. Now, while we screaming for other races to stop discriminating against us and to accept us and treat us as equal and stop looking down on us, we need to stop the discrimination within our own race, because there is very much a problem with Black on Black discrimination. It's real, it's live, and it's so ugly. Let me go ahead and go a little deeper so you understand what I mean. So when I went to the skating rink last night, I met an older lady, and she looked like she was possibly of mixed race, possibly of mixed race. And we talked and spoke for a little while, and she spoke on how as she was growing up, she always got teased by the dark-skinned Black people, right? And I shared with her that had been my experience as well. Growing up, it just so happened to be that the most times that I experienced someone trying to bully me or trying to pick with me, speaking in school years like elementary and middle school and high school, most of the time it just so happened to be darker complected Black people. Okay? Let's sit that right there. Now, yesterday I made a post, and someone that I'm acquainted with, and I made the post, and quite a few you probably saw it, and it said something about I was dressed in the blue, and I was playing Poison in the background, and by Belle Biv DeVoe, and I said something about high yellow beauty, just slide some high yellow beauty down your timeline. And someone I'm acquainted with jumped on Instagram and said, high yellow dark skin, it's all black and beautiful, something like that, with a fist, and didn't bother to like the post. But it made me feel some kind of way, because it was a form of, for me, it felt like a form of discrimination. It felt like, why are you colorizing my post? Why don't I get to be comfortable in my own skin? Yes, I'm a light-skinned Black person. Okay? Yes, obviously you can see there's a lot of Caucasian in my bloodline. We all know the history of this country. We all know 9 times out of 10, if you are a Black African American, no matter your complexion, you could be lighter skinned like me, or you could be, lesser shade. You could be dark skinned. You could be milk chocolate, amaretto, cinnamon complexion, walnut, nutmeg. We could go through all the shades. But that your great-great-grandparents was slaves. And 9 times out of 10, they were being raped and bearing the slave master's children. In my case, on my mother's side, my grandmother's father, which would have been my great-grandfather, was the son of the slave and the slave owner. Okay? My great-grandfather on my mother's side was the product of the slave and the slave owner. So you can see where I'm going with this. The Caucasian in my blood on that side is not that far away. 3 generations, to be exact. On my father's side, from what I understand, it's pretty much the same thing. Grandfather's parents was the descendants of the slave, the slave and the slave owner's daughter, which was Irish. And they had a bunch of mixed African and Irish children running around, and one of them was the mother of my grandfather on my dad's side. So if you do your history, most of us are here and existing because of what the incidents that took place back then. No, it's not pretty. It's ugly. It's ugly, but it happened. And now while we speaking on slavery, I don't know how many of you have read the Willie Lynch letter, or even know about Willie Lynch, the Willie Lynch letter. I would encourage you to Google it. If you don't know, Google it, YouTube it, go find it, read it. It's a little bit lengthy, but it's a good read. Because Willie Lynch went to every plantation, was from the West Indies, came over to America because they didn't know how to manage their slaves right, and he taught them how to mentally enslave their captives. He taught them how to get the mind fucked up, and told them, this was in, I want to say, was it 1712, I believe? The year 1712. And from what I remember, he instructed them and said, if you do it right, the teachings that I'm going to teach you will continue to revolve on a self-spinning axis, meaning you're going to be they're going to mentally program their children and their children's children and their children's children. These teachings of this mental slavery will be subconsciously passed down onto us for 300 years or more, he said, unless a phenomenon takes place which will break the spell or the cycle. So if we're doing our math right, 300 years or more, he was talking about the 21st century, the year 2000 and going forward. So from what I can see, looks like people are waking up, look like the spell is being broken, but unity is what I believe he was saying would have to take place. A strong solid spirit of unity. One of the things that Willie Lynch taught the slave owners was to pit the slaves against each other so that they would not trust each other, they would be jealous of each other, and they would look to the master for their provisions. So one of the strategies was to mate with the inside slaves, rape the inside slaves, basically the slaves that were inside serving the meals and doing the house keeping and all that. The slaves that were forced to work in the field, most of y'all know this, of course was resentful. They felt that the slaves that were inside had it made because they didn't have to be outside picking cotton or picking tobacco or whatever it was all day long, heat or cold or whatever. They were able to be inside. But what they didn't know is they didn't have it much better. They was being inside, being treated like shit. Inside, being raped on and fucked on whenever they wanted to. Inside, you know, the little Caucasian children having leashes on little black children and calling them their pets and having them run around on all fours and shit like that. It was all kind of stuff going on back then. But the outside slaves will call the inside slaves house niggas. And they detested them. And since they were having babies with the slave master, yeah, there was a lot of mulattoes running around and instantly born into service. Soon as you're old enough, you're rubbing master's feet, you're doing this, you're doing that, but you're an inside house slave for the most part. So this contempt was purposely initiated in our race of people all those years ago. And it has been brewing, revolving. It has been carried forth for all these years. But it needs to stop. At the end of the day, we all have the same blood. We all bleed red. At the end of the day, no matter what my shade or complexion or your shade of complexion, if you identify yourself as a beautiful, loving spirit, then you should be able to look at me and see that I'm also a beautiful, loving spirit. At the end of the day, this skin we wear is nothing but our vehicle to travel and roam this earth dimension. Separation is a lower level frequency. Separation is a lower level frequency. As you vibe higher, you're able to realize and understand that inclusion is the realm of evolution. Realizing that we are all one part of a whole, not you're separate, you're separate, you're separate, you're separate. When it's like that, your ego is in full force, and your ego will prevent you from evolving because it talks too much. What prompted me to make this video was I was in the pharmacy, and as I came out to get in my car, a woman passed by, and she just so happened to be a darker complected woman. And she said, "Oh my God, I just love your car. Your car is so beautiful." And I said, thank you. And she goes, "Oh, and look at you. You know, with your hair matching that car." And I was like, "Yeah, girl." You know, we started laughing and stuff. And I said, it's really just a blessing. You know, I'm very blessed. And she goes on to talk to me for a few minutes and said, well, she just got a new car too. And, you know, she's so happy, but she's going to get another new car and blah, 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 blah. And I just go, isn't it just a beautiful thing to walk in the blessings of the Most High God? And she said, yes, it is. And I said, but you know, we're in a new season right now. We're in a season where the blessings are being poured out if you can receive them. Whatever you can manifest and hold in your third eye and see yourself having is going to be a part of your reality in this season. So you don't have to sit back feasting in them lower levels of energy, being angry at whatever you feel like the next person got, or looking at the next person and with a hater eye, or feeling some kind of way. You know, it's dead, tired, old, and played out. Soon as you get to start being the type of person that don't mind giving someone their props, will stop and tell someone that you think they're beautiful, or if you think that they got it going on, or compliments. It's okay to smile. It's okay to smile. And we in the year 2022. Happy Black History Month. But what I want to say is, we are not our history anymore. We're not. We're in a whole new day and age. The playing field is as level as it's ever been. We're in a beautiful time period of technology, where technology is at its peak. And we are finally learning. We're finally learning how to harness the knowledge that our ancestors possessed. It's really a beautiful thing. So begin to look within. Begin to figure out what that is inside of you that makes you want to colorize people. Begin to look inside of you and figure out what is it? What is that thing? What is it that makes you want to look at someone and think a negative thought? Because I'm going to be honest with you, hurt people hurt people. And I don't hold anyone, I don't get angry at people like that anymore. It's wasted energy. I don't hold grudges like that anymore. It's wasted energy. I'll shoot up a prayer for a person, because only a spirit that is drowning in darkness can project darkness. If a spirit is drowning in darkness and sorrow and misery, ugliness and hate, it cannot project light. So if you send up hurting, wounded, angry, it's going to be real hard for you to reach out and say, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's nice. That's stuff positive people do that are happy with themselves. But when you're not happy with yourself, then you're not able to walk in that capacity. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But I'm going to come right back to celebrate the skin you in. Celebrate the car you drive while we in this dimension and this space of time. Celebrate yourself. Love yourself. There's only one you. Make your splash. Leave your footprint on the seat of the earth while you walk in it. You really don't have the time to be looking at this one, looking at that one, and forming opinions. Because it's all about, what are you doing? What are you going to do? What are you up to? Okay? So on that note, let's live, laugh, and love as much as we can. Tell people they're beautiful. Smile. Congratulate each other. Show love to strangers. Sometimes a smile and a kind word can make somebody's whole day. You ain't got to be ugly and evil. You don't have to do that. And if you are stuck in that energy, beginning to show some positivity and spread some love and light on someone else, it will help you feel better. It's going to help bring you up out that darkness. On that note, I'm out. I hope you guys learned something. It's Dr. Deshauna, baby, and this was a lesson for the books. Thank you.